Hello, wonderful, amazing you, Susanna Mittermaier here. Utterly thrilled. We just had day 3 of the Pragmatic Practitioner class, and wow, I'm just thrilled, and I wanted to use this incredibleness that was created over the last 3 days to invite you to what else is possible for you. So I'm here in the Pragmatic Psychology Center in Vienna. Of course, we have some peacock feathers, and we just finished day 3 of the Pragmatic Psychology Pragmatic Practitioner class with absolutely amazing people. So this class we just had was only online, and I just, when you had a bunch of people that were you together, opened up a space of wowiness. That's where I go, oh, I want to tell the world. I want to just go, hey guys, this is available. So this is what this invitation is right now. So we just had 3 days where people from very many different backgrounds discovered what they know about facilitating change. And we know facilitating means making things easier. Hello, Geraldine. Yeah, I think that's how I pronounce your name. Facilitating means making easier. And so people that attended the class, had all kinds of different backgrounds: coaches, animal communicators, teachers, and all of them wanted to know, hey, how can I use the tools to create change in the world? And most people who have some kind of education with a name and a title have all kinds of points of views about how good they are, or maybe that they're not good enough, or there is a right way to create change and there's a wrong way to create change, or have learned all kinds of things. And whatever you have learned, whatever points of view you have adopted, is not always helpful. They're only helpful if you ask questions of, does this really work in this moment? And what people discovered in these 3 days, I'm so happy, Geraldine. So what people discovered in these 3 days is how different they are, and that they have what it takes to facilitate the person that comes to them, or whatever class they're facilitating. And again, facilitating means making it easier. And there were so many different aspects that came up, and so many things we discovered. And one of them that I wanted to invite you guys to is to stop worrying about getting it right. So whether you facilitate yourself, it always goes both ways. If you want to create change in the world, that kind of includes you too. So if you want to, invite the world to more ease and joy and glory, there is somewhere in your world where you have to be willing to allow that space for you and your life too. So it takes like a level of vulnerability to work with yourself as well. It's like, when you go to a facilitator, a coach, or a therapist that have decided they know it all and they are right and they just give you the answers. How is that? How is it when you come to someone who is vulnerable, who works with themselves, who walks their talk? And so, it's like facilitation is something that you not only do when you do a session or a class, it's something that you do all the time. Basically, you could be a facilitator on legs. You could be a walking, talking facilitator anywhere you go. And it's where you walk your talk, where you not only talk about it and facilitate it and give people whatever they are asking for, but it's where you be what you invite the world to. So what be you? What are you that you have never acknowledged that you are, that you uniquely are inviting the world to? Wow. So just bathe in that space for a moment. When we ask a question, it's not just a cognitive aerobics where we go, oh, what be I? Da, da, da. No, it's where you really are present with what is being presented with the questions you ask. So if you ask yourself, okay, so, hey, maybe until now you've thought, oh no, I have nothing to deliver for the world. I'm just this and this person. is that really true? Or if you ask yourself, what be I, what am I, that I uniquely am inviting the world to? And if you just like be present for a moment with that question and bathe in that space, and notice, don't look for an answer, don't go upstairs. That's a tricky place up here. And so if you don't go upstairs, but if you be present with that question and you don't look for an answer, because most of us have learned once we ask a question, we're supposed to find an answer. That's a trap, okay? So once you ask a question, you can bathe in the space of what is being presented to you and what you actually as your being are presenting to you. So, and that's something that is so unique for each and every one of us. And one of the things that the people at the class, the Pragmatic Practitioner class that we just ended today, discovered is, they in the beginning, they tried to find the right words. They tried to find the right question, the right tool to present the person they were facilitating. Because, what we did at this class is where people practice facilitating on each other with my contribution. And what people try to do is, okay, what should I do now? What's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to say? What's the tool to use? And so they try to dominate the situation with their words, with the right thing to do. They word about right and wrong and good and bad. And at the end, today, they were moving into the space of, okay, so what's the space that I can be to facilitate change and to melt limitations with ease? And that's where an elegance and ease emerged that they were so stunned about and so surprised about that they can be, and it doesn't take any effort. In this reality, if you want to create change, you supposedly work hard. You supposedly do the right thing. You supposedly have to have done it for many years. Well, that's one perspective. What if there's a totally different perspective? What if you creating change in the world comes from something totally different, which is you and the space you be, you and your body. It's actually both. When you work with clients, it's not only you as the being, it's you and your body facilitating change. So you can also ask your body, hey, body, what do you know? What can you facilitate? What can you and I facilitate for that person, for them and their bodies? And most of what you can facilitate doesn't come from up here. Oh, I have this experience and this is why I can do this. No, most of what you can facilitate is from the space you be. So there was one situation where there was at this class, there was a woman facilitating another woman, and the how can I say this? The person who was being facilitated, she was like tying herself up in a knot, trying to figure out what she should do and how should I do this and how should I do this. And most clients who seek help, they want to have an answer. They want to know what should I do and how. And this how is where the practitioner, the therapist or the coach oftentimes goes into, oh my God, I have to deliver something. I have to give them an answer. I have to tell them how. I have to tell them how. And it creates this, feeling trapped or feeling, how do you say, like put in the corner, and you have to do something or fix the situation. And so, and the person facilitating could, sense this pressure on her to deliver an answer or to tell the person how, And so she said, Susanna, I don't know what to do. I feel like I have to deliver or give an answer. And I'm like, yeah. So how aware are you of where the person you're facilitating is sitting right now? And so the person facilitating played with that space, and it was so beautiful and elegant. First, she tried to give an answer. She tried to fix the person, which is the usual way to go. Most practitioners go to that. And she was playing with the space of, okay, I have no idea what to do right now. And she was being vulnerable with that. And she went to, okay, what can I be now? And so she was choosing to be the space beyond this, and the whole situation changed. And if you look through your life, not only the situations where you had a session or a class, but where you had a friend or a family member who had something going on and was stuck and you had no idea what to do, or any situation with yourself, what really created change? Was it because you said the right thing or you gave them the right tool? Or was it because you were being something that you uniquely were in that situation that invited the person to something different, to something beyond the problem? And that's the space we can be for each other. Another example, right now, you see a lot of discussions. It's so entertaining. This back and forth about, the situation we're in right now, politically, the thing with the virus and whatnot. I mean, people are like discussing, and if you're on Facebook, you see people discussing back and forth. They're like ping-ponging their opinions back and forth, and they can entertain themselves with that the whole day. Like basically points of view are nothing but entertainment. It's like making yourself blind to what else is possible beyond it. And that's what people do all day long, and it's so easy to be seduced into this trap of, oh, I have to tell them what's true for me. No, that's right. That's wrong. That's good. That's bad. And it's so easy to fall into this trap of entertainment of this reality. And that's not wrong. It's not right. It's just one choice. But the question is, this is where you can practice, guys. If you see a discussion like this and you feel yourself seduced into commenting and going, no, this is right, this is wrong, and going into wanting to discuss, then you can practice to be the space beyond it. Just ask, what space beyond this can I be that makes this totally ease for me? And that creates something different beyond this with total ease. And it's not about changing them, because people it's their choice whether they want to go beyond it or not. But this is where you can practice for you to be the space beyond it, where you can discover, oh, I have a different choice. I have a different choice than being entertained by this reality and going back and forth. I can be something beyond it. And maybe you realize how much time and energy you use for right and wrong and good and bad and back and forth and ping pong, rather than beyond it, rather than, wait a second, there's a whole universe beyond this stuff. Oh, I could do this. I could use my energy for that. I can create this. I can create that. And suddenly you notice that this ping pong world is this tiny, and people are entertained by this tiny crumb reality when all of this is possible beyond it. And this is where we're being pragmatic. This is where we're doing what works. And this is where we invite the world to a totally different perspective that's fit for the future. It's like, what does our future really require? Being entertained by good and bad and right and wrong? Gosh, we can do this until the cows come home, basically forever. What's possible beyond it? Like, what does our future, what does your future truly desire and require? And so I am thrilled about this perspective. And I wanted to share this with you so you can maybe move yourself into something greater beyond what's being delivered to you right now as the only choice you have. And another thing that was so amazing, one of the participants in this class that we just ended, the Pragmatic Psychology, Pragmatic Practitioner class, she said, another episode where two people were facilitating each other, as we do in these classes. And so the person facilitating her was absolutely amazing. And so the woman who was being facilitated, she was also looking for an answer. And then the facilitator didn't give her an answer. She was just like, hey, what do you know? And so the person facilitated said at some point, wow, just by seeing what I've been choosing in my life so far, basically by just turning on the lights and seeing what is, which you also can call consciousness. Consciousness is very pragmatic. It's just like basically seeing what is, turning on the lights and not judging what's going on, not judging what you're choosing. And so she said, wow, by just seeing and being aware of what I'm choosing, I can see I have different choices. I didn't even see them before. I don't have to know how. I just know that I have different choices, and that makes all the difference. That creates this different space. Wow, and that's also another aspect of being pragmatic, doing what works and creating a life that works, So this is my invitation to, hey, time for something different. And pragmatic psychology is basically a different paradigm for creating change in the world, for yourself, for others, and knowing that you know. Because you know what? That's what psychology used to be. It used to be the study of knowing. And that's what it can be now, you know, where you trust yourself, where you don't need to have someone else tell you what's right or wrong, but where you trust yourself. And that's a totally different perspective, empowering people rather than giving them answers. So, and I have a question here somewhere from Brazil. So glad you created a pragmatic psychology. I'm also a psychologist. Yay, in Brazil. And finally, I'm considering not giving up the profession after listening to you. Thanks. Thanks, Connor Hill, for telling me about you. Oh, yay. So glad. Yeah, because there's a different way of being a practitioner. And I mean, practitioner, this is like a summary name for a psychologist, for teachers, social workers, parents, anybody who works with people is a practitioner. That's how I call them. And there's a different paradigm out there, kids. It's incredible. Like even the things that are being called like the labels, you know, there's so many different labels. Like everything is a label. If you say, I am a mother, that's a label. If you say I'm good at this, that's a label. If you say I have ADHD, that's a label. Like anything is a label, a definition of you that keeps you from discovering what else you are. And everything that's called an incapacity in this reality is actually capacity, you know, like things like ADHD, autism, Asperger, any label, any diagnosis, it's actually where you can discover the resource, the capacities behind them. And it's so obvious. You just got to ask. And we have the tools to facilitate that, to have access to this and to discover what you know. So more of this is coming. There are a lot of resources. I do a podcast on this every second week. It's on Spotify, on, I don't know, whatever the platforms are called. It's called Pragmatic Psychology, Be the Peacock. So you can find inspiration every second week about this in different topics. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube. There's a book called Pragmatic Psychology. And there's also classes. So if you've done the Access Consciousness Bars and Foundation class, you can join us for the Pragmatic Practitioner class. And the next one is coming up at the end of August online in English and other languages. So let's rock the world. Thank you for you. And if this is something that you know other people could benefit from, just share the video. And thank you for you. And maybe see you at one of the events. And if you have any other topics that you would like me to talk about at the podcasts, just let me know. Mwah. Thank you for you. Bye.